Hello, and welcome to One Cool Thing, PC Mag's daily show on Facebook and YouTube and the interwebs, where we tell you about one cool thing that we've been testing here in PC Labs. I'm Tom Brandt, this is Matt Buzzy, and this is the Razer Core V2. It is a graphics enclosure, and we are going to talk to you about it today, answer your questions, which hopefully you will type into the comment section. Social Pete will read them out to us. If you're watching this later, you can come back next week at 10 a.m. Eastern Time and ask us questions about whatever we're talking about at that point.
Be there or be square.
Yeah, exactly. Or be rectangular,
or
like
be
the Razer Core V2. Which is very similar to the Razer Core, but if you're not uninitiated in terms of gaming Razer products, you probably have no clue.
No idea what this rectangle is. It's just a box. That's it. It's a big metal box. Yours for the low price of $4.99. No, so if you're not familiar with the concept of graphics amplifiers in general, or graphics enclosures, whatever you want to call them, this is a box that holds a desktop-sized graphics card. The box comes empty. It doesn't come with a graphics card. The idea is here that you install a graphics card that you have on hand or that you purchase, like a high-end card, like NVIDIA's GTX 10 series. You can get, put a 1060 in it. This card right here is a 1070 Ti, very high-end card. Plug that in, and then you connect it here, which is behind the curtain, to an ultra-portable laptop like this. This is the Razer Blade Stealth. And it turns what is normally just a travel, ultra-portable travel companion with no graphics card of its own into a graphics-powered rig when it's home at your desk. So you take the same laptop that you travel with, come home from a commute, and it's time to play games. So you sit down at your desk, you plug it in, it's USB-C to USB-C, so it really couldn't be more simple in that regard. This charges through this because this is plugged into a wall. The charging port becomes the connection port. And really couldn't be much simpler.
And the end result is that, as you can see here, we are playing a game at Qhd Resolution, ultra quality, and it's
running
silky
smoothly.
smooth.
Yeah, we're getting more than 40 some odd frames per second there, and that's a Qhd, which is obviously pretty demanding. So yeah, that's kind of the concept behind it. This is not the only one on the market. It's not the first one. The Core was the first Thunderbolt 3 powered one, so that is back here.
Yeah.
The main difference with the first version is the headroom for bigger cards. Now you can fit everything in. There's a list of compatible cards on NVIDIA's on Razer's site rather. It runs from really more even than you even might expect. You can put the Titan X in here if you so desire, all the way down to the lower end cards. The 7 series, older versions, work in here as well. AMD's newer cards work in here, so there's a lot of compatibility. You can fit pretty much any modern card in here and have it powered inside, which we can open up and show you now that you've gotten the idea. As you can see before I turn it off, it has internal lighting, and it's matching the sync through Razer software is matching the lighting on the keyboard there, so that's kind of a neat touch. You can make it do whatever you want, or you can just make them sync and kind of run together.
Now, I think we should definitely turn this all off and take it out and show people what's inside. But I just want to note that that's kind of theoretically how these things work. But in practice, you're really going to have to judge this against another solution, which is a regular gaming laptop or a gaming desktop. Right. And there are definite trade-offs between the two. That said, the Razer Core V2 is a really, in terms of graphics enclosures, it's probably the most hyped up of them. Alienware also makes one.
Yes.
But I mean, this is pretty good.
It looks nice. I'll show you in a minute. It's really easy to use. It is $499. It is a little expensive. The Alienware one I think is $200. So you're definitely paying a bit of a premium. But it does look nice, and this is all aluminum. It's all built nicely, and I'll show you. The functionality is really easy.
Okay. So let's
I did disconnect that properly. Razer, if you're watching, I did eject it, and then I unplugged. So that is recommended that you eject properly so you don't damage anything.
Right. Okay. So we're done with
that's
this.
My disclaimer. So in the back here, before I do that, you obviously get the ports from whatever graphics card you attach. Let me point at that camera here. You get the video out, and then this is crucial because a lot of thin laptops wouldn't have Ethernet. So this adds an Ethernet jack for gaming. So
and 4 regular USB as well.
Regular. All these USB ports all in here. They're of course Razer green. So this handle is really the secret to the magic. And you feel a bit like Nick Cage in The Rock as you remove this nuclear device. So that's it. This is the whole This is the whole system. This is a 500 watt power supply built into here, so that can power any single card.
Although they do claim that you can, the maximum power to the card is 375 watts.
Right. Yeah, you get the extra headroom there. You get
Yeah.
the more powerful thing, just to prevent any issues. There's a single PCIe slot. There's all these pinned cables, which obviously different cards need different power draw. So you have what you need there. Do we have a question? I think we do.
Can Mac users use this?
Funny you should ask that, because soon Apple is coming out with a update to macOS High Sierra that will enable external GPUs. Now, the question though that we don't know is, will this specific Razer Core V2 work with it? Razer is open to plugging this into any computer, really, but it's up to the manufacturer of that computer to support it in the BIOS.
Yeah, so that's the big like hold up for making this like a super complete recommendation. The product as it's built and as it's made and what it's intended to do, it's really well executed. It's really easy to use. It looks nice. It runs without a problem. The big caveat is that not on Razer's end, but on the other side of other manufacturers, something needs to be enabled in the BIOS. Something needs to be done by those manufacturers to make their hardware compatible with this hardware. So if you plug this in, which I did, to other USB-C laptops, other ultraportables, it more often than not says this device is not recognized, and you can't get the graphics boost off here.
Right.
Which leads to the fact that you're probably going to have to save for some DIY solutions. There are communities out there who have had success kind of tinkering with things.
You could essentially edit the BIOS yourself.
Yeah, you could get in there and do the work, but to make it work. But most likely 90% of users are going to be Razer Blade Stealth owners, because there are other laptops that have graphics cards in them. You're not going to want to turn those into you're not going to want to connect those to a graphics enclosure. They have their own graphics cards. That would be redundant to buy a Blade and then attach it to another machine.
Now, we should take another question, but let's go back before we do that and finish. So how is the process of installing this? Is this the same as you install on a desktop?
So it really, it's I would say it's even easier because everything's right here. Like, this is all you need. It's pretty straightforward about what's where. So these pins connected here, it's routed up right to where the graphics card, the only spot the graphics card can go. To get it out, there's a little release lever back here. And then the final step of removing it is the little hand screw. I don't know if I can even.
Yeah, okay. So there is one screw.
There's a bracketed hand screw, but
is it captive, so it will stay in there?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's a hand screw. I don't even need tools.
Oh no, it comes out.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I see what you're saying. Yes. And then this little release lock, and you can get it right out.
Yeah.
That's
so that's
the
pretty
entire process. Like you reverse that to put the card back in. Ooh, this is toasty. Go figure. It was just on.
Game.
Go figure.
But the thing is, you're not going to be doing this very often unless you somehow have multiple graphics cards that you switch in and out. That's probably a one-time setup.
Yeah. It's a nice card.
Yes. Let's get to your question.
Please take another question.
To clarify something you were talking about earlier, this is really for adding a graphics card to a system that doesn't necessarily have a graphics card. It's not really for adding a second graphics card.
Who is this for? What is this
so
for?
you could, I think in theory, I guess you could choose which card, if you installed it in a system that had a card, you could force on one of the cards, I think. You should be able to be like, no, run it off this card. So if you have, say, I guess, if you have the Razer Blade, which has a GTX 1060 in it, and you have a 1080 or a 1080 Ti or a Titan X sitting around, yeah, that's better than a 1060. So you could plug in your Blade and run it. It's just like, that's a little redundant. So kind of a, like value-wise, you already bought a gaming laptop with a graphics card in it. To run a card off that card is kind of silly. You can't SLI the cards.
Yeah, I was gonna say
in two boxes.
This is not a twin card setup.
Yeah,
an SLI. Yeah. It's essentially just you would be choosing which card you want to power the system. Yeah. So a short answer is no. That's not what it's for.
Not really intended. Yeah, it's for like the Stealth. What'd you do with it?
Oh, I put it right there. Oh. We're done with it.
Magic, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Stealth, which is just an ultra portable laptop that you want to travel with, you want to do work on. That does not have graphics and it can't really play games. So when you come home, you plug it in, then you can run it off this card. That's the idea. That's the concept here.
Right. And now probably who this isn't for is someone who is wanting to use a GPU for something other than gaming. Like if you are crunching a huge data set or doing some sort of artificial intelligence work, there's really no reason to go with this route because, again, you probably want more than one graphics card. You probably want a workstation. This is really only for gaming enthusiasts.
Yeah. You could do the other work on it. You know, developers or what have you doing video work. I could see a use case for video.
Video editing, yes,
I could see our camera folk taking their projects home and you know, plugging into an actual graphics card so they have the option to not only be able to work in the office.
The prospect though is very intriguing. I mean, you come home with your really sleek Razer Blade Stealth, one of the best ultra portables.
While we're talking, I'm gonna reverse back the process and show you.
You come home and you plug in a single cable. Correct me if I'm wrong. You plug in a single USB-C cable which supports Thunderbolt 3, and that gives you access to all of your peripherals, the external GPU, and hopefully your nice giant 4K monitor.
Yeah, that'd be.
And your keyboard and mouse, and that's a very elegant solution, I think.
Makes a lot of sense.
The problem is it is extremely expensive. And actually, before we get to why it's so expensive, it has really nothing to do with Razer or the computer. It has to do with GPU. We will take one of your questions.
Indeed.
I guess this was price related. Is there any sort of bundle with the GPU, or like do you just have to buy it on its own?
As far as I saw it, it wasn't bundled. Maybe I should have perused Razer's site more carefully. I didn't see that.
I don't think there is with the GPU. When the Razer came out,
especially these days.
When the Razer Core came out last year, the first edition of it, they actually offered a $100 discount if you bought.
Look how easy that was.
If you bought both this and this together. I don't know if they still offer that. You can obviously check at Razer's website. But in terms of a bundle discount with a GPU, almost certainly not. And I don't know, we should probably explain why that is.
As far as
in case you don't know.
As far as graphics cards
Yes.
are concerned, so yeah, graphics cards right now are extremely scarce. The prices are all driven up. If you can even get one, they're more expensive.
Because of Bitcoin mining.
Because of Bitcoin mining. People,
crypto
mining really, not Bitcoin specifically. Actually, you cannot mine Bitcoin graphics cards. But many other cryptocurrencies are being mined using the power of GPUs. They're hashing that algorithm.
Yeah.
I know more about this than I want because you have to right now. You have to find out about this stuff.
I know more about this for someone who doesn't own any cryptocurrency.
Right, exactly, because of the graphics card impact. So you have to, graphics cards can help you earn some, basically, essentially is the simple explanation. So people are buying them in bulk, running machines that are running all these cards, and so the prices of all these cards have skyrocketed way up. Demand is high, supply is much lower, and it's causing cards to be more expensive.
Yeah.
So right now, if you were going to try to run out to add a card to this system, well, it's not the best time to do it.
Basically, the end result is that you are going to be spending $499 on the enclosure. For a high-powered NVIDIA 10 series graphics card, you're probably going to be spending close to $1,000 just on that card, which is 40–50% markup over what they're asking for. So you're looking at spending, you know, well north of $1,000 just for the external graphics enclosure and the GPU. That doesn't include the laptop, which probably has to be a Razer Blade Stealth. That goes for anywhere between $1,000 and what does that top out at?
You can get like a $1,500 SKU,
yeah, $1,500,
something like that.
So this is not a cost-effective solution. You would be much better off buying, in terms of bang for your buck, buying a gaming laptop with a graphics card already in it, because those graphics card prices are negotiated in advance. It's not like the price of desktops or laptops with GPUs is going up wildly, although it could in the next year if this continues.
There's definitely it's not the most. I wrote this in my review. It's not the most cost-effective option. If you're someone starting from scratch and you are buying a card, a laptop, and I added in the addition of you probably want to get a monitor if you don't have one at home, because it's a beautiful screen, but
you don't need 4K on this screen.
You don't. It's 13.3 inches. Not really gaming territory as far as I'm concerned. You could obviously play on it, but it's a little small. So I think like 15 is usually the minimum for gaming. People like 17. People playing at home want 24, 26, 30. So
now I want to address performance, but before we do that, do we have any questions? We're good for now. Okay, so performance-wise, the whole point of this is better performance.
Yes.
What did you see?
So good positives and a little bit of negatives. It runs beautifully. It runs QHD. These tests were running really high. At HD, they're running even higher frame rates wise. It was around 90 frames per second on HD, which is fine for many games. But some people might want to play in QHD. They might own a QHD 2160 by 1440p monitor, which is like where a lot of people like to play. So Those frame rates were good, but they were lower in comparison to a desktop frame rate, for the frame rates you'd see on desktops with the same graphics card in it. So the 1070 Ti in this box through the USB-C, I don't know if that's lost through USB-C, I don't know if that's just the nature of running off laptop components or what, but the performance was probably 10 to 15 frames lower on average, I think, than like a desktop 1070 Ti. That's also, most of the desktop numbers we had to look at were running
1070s.
like, 1070s, and they're running like processors that were like boosted higher. So
Right.
it's not quite a one-to-one comparison at all.
So so essentially what you're saying is you can't really compare this with a desktop card, but it does its intended purpose, which is dramatically boost the frame rates when you're running a game.
You're not even getting double digits at those frame rates without being connected to the core on this machine. So the fact that it's getting 80 and 60, and on Qhd Plus it was still getting over 30.
Right.
That's
so
good.
We can say, though, I did look this up. So the maximum throughput of this thing with the Thunderbolt 3 interface is 40 gigabytes per second. That's the highest it'll go. The current PCIe architecture actually tops out at slightly below that, like 30, the equivalent of 30 gigabytes per second for the PCIe architecture. But that doesn't mean that you're getting that full amount. There could be other issues in there between the GPU enclosure and the laptop that are actually affecting performance. So
the theoretical data transfer rate is high enough.
Theoretically, you should not get any difference. In practice, we did see a bit of a difference.
Right. So yeah, that's kind of the scoop on that aspect of it. It does run really well, not quite as equivalent to a desktop if you put the same card in it.
Yeah.
But still, really impressive performance. So between ease of use, between how it looks nice, again, I mean, ease of use is really the main thing. The first time setup involved going to my device manager and clicking update drivers, and I did it one time, and now every time I connect since then, it pops up when I plug it in and says, GTX 1070 Ti has been detected and is now running, and that's exactly what I did. You saw me put it together, and you saw me connect it back, and it's now running off the card again. So it took 2 minutes.
So if you are the limited type of person who could make use of this thing, you will have a very good time of it because it is easy to use. Problem is, do you have the money, and do you want to limit yourself to, well, that's not actually, this is about unlimiting yourself, really. You're getting an ultra portable, and you're getting the good gaming performance when you're at home. So
the good news really is that if you are in the market, it's tough if you're not looking to buy a laptop, is really the main kind of
if you already have one of these.
The good news is that this is a really good ultra portable. This is one of our favorites as it is. So like you're not making a concession by getting a Blade Stealth is the main thing. So it's kind of a win-win, but only for those people who are looking to buy a laptop. If you already own like another ultra portable laptop, you're not gonna be like, oh, let me also buy a laptop just so because that's kind of that's a lot of money to throw around.
Let's take another question.
Someone asks whether you've had any issues with using USB peripherals with the core, just because he mentions he's had problems with other pass-through hubs in the past.
Everything I used ran well through the rear, which was just like a mouse for the most part, just to make sure they were working. I didn't have a problem. I understand the compatibility of pass-through sometimes is a little hit and miss.
Are these powered? Are all the ports powered?
I don't think so. They might be. I don't remember seeing that. If it's any.
Well, presumably they are though, because a 375 watt maximum, but the whole power.
It's got to be going somewhere. Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, you know what? It might be also to charge.
To charge the
laptop.
Yeah.
So I imagine that might be why the headroom. I didn't mention there's cooling in this also.
Oh well, I can feel the heat.
Yeah, sorry. There's additional cooling in this to help your graphics card not overheat.
Yeah.
Obviously, the graphics card has fans on its own, but normally a PC case has fans. So this, in addition to its sick case lighting here, which again synced with the keyboard, looking pretty sharp there. The purple glowing in rhythm. There is cooling inside as well to help the box.
So basically. I think it's fair to say that this doesn't get, so this is a 3.5 star product, right? This is very good for what it does. We didn't rate it excellent, I think, because of its limited appeal.
Yeah,
it's really the only reason.
The execution is I mean, it's exactly what it's supposed to do. It's easy to use. Really, I don't want to say almost through no fault of its own, but when you're rating a product and you're thinking about like how much you can recommend it, if I put 5 stars, 4 stars on this, it's like, oh, run out and buy it. There's a limited number of use cases, and I think that's just the reality of the product, of the type of product, and the reality of how the market works, and that not everybody, A, has the budget to like justify this, and then B, the people who have the right amount of hardware or the hardware they need to go out and buy, it just makes this Venn diagram of users that it applies to just smaller and smaller.
Now, but come back to us in a year, because if there's a glut of GPUs, if for some reason we reverse the way we are right now, this makes this much more attractive.
Yes. Yeah, or if all the other OEMs decide to just play nice.
Or, yeah, that's true.
And
have we reviewed any other ones, or is this the only one?
The Alien, we didn't review the newer Alienware. We reviewed the last model, like the 20. I think our review is from 2015 of that one. Okay. So we don't really have a head-to-head of the newer ones. I'm not sure. Yeah, again, that one is a little cheaper, so it does have that going for it. But that's specifically made for Alienware laptops. Like I'm pretty sure
that's even worse.
I'm pretty sure the plug is. Yeah, that's why I said like it's not.
Razer
really,
is fine with anyway, but Alienware you
right. That's why I said it's not really on Razer's end that it's not working with other machines.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the actual like plug and input for the Alienware machines works with the Alienware laptops.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good that they used Thunderbolt 3
USB-C. That's why it's theoretically possible. And for the record, there are some laptops that will run with this. There are non-Razer. Sure. It does happen. It has to do with the lane, the Thunderbolt 3 and USB-C lanes, and that's not really something that's advertised. They don't really tell you what it is. Yeah. So there's no list of manufacturer laptops that like will run with it.
I mean, in determining which PCIe version you have, things like that. I mean, we're currently at version 4. We're going to be going to version 5. Who knows all that stuff? I mean, well, some people do, but it's not something that you're looking at when you're buying these things. But though that all factors into compatibility. So if we don't have any more questions, we're all good. This is the Razer Core V2. The review is up right now at PCMag.com. Don't rush out and buy it unless you know what you're getting into.
Yes, if you fit all the things we described, read my full review for detailed breakdown of who that is exactly, and see if it applies to you. But it's a really nicely made product. It's really fun to use. I think the concept is cool, if not useful to everybody, and I think they execute really well. So that's what we can say about it.
We will be back tomorrow, not tomorrow, Monday.
Unless you're coming in tomorrow or on Saturday, Tom,
Eastern.
You're more than welcome to.
Well, you can watch us again on set tomorrow if you want a replay. We'll be back next week with yet another one cool thing for you. In the meantime, have a good weekend, and we'll see you later.